What's up guys? In this video, I want to show you what's in my camera bag and all of the filmmaking gear that I use to make my videos and the gear that I'll be using this year and in the foreseeable future. Now, this is the gear that I have collected and upgraded over the past decade as a videographer. Some things I have had since the very beginning, and other things I started off with lower end gear and cheaper models and slowly upgraded over time as my needs changed and my budget grew. So don't think that I just went out this year and bought all of this gear all at once, because that is definitely not the case. If you're just starting out, I recommend getting the bare necessities that you need to create your videos, and as you do more and more projects, get more equipment and upgrade as needed. But today I want to show you all the gear that I am currently using right now, and I'll put links to all this gear in the description below, so if you want to check it out for yourself, you can find the links there. Now the camera bag that I'm using is made by Hex. It is their Hex Camera Bag. I love this bag. When I was looking for camera bags 4 or 5 years ago, I couldn't find one that was high quality and big enough. And when I found this one, I found it on YouTube from a videographer named Roy Kramer. And he actually partnered with this company and designed it to be especially made for videographers, photographers, to really fit their needs. And when I saw this one, I hands down wanted to get this one over any other backpack. Even with the one that Peter McKinnon, the Nomadic backpack, I still think this one is better. So some of the cool features, it's got a big pouch right here. This is just mainly for pens and papers and little compartment stuff right here. You have a quick release for your keys if you want. Another small pouch right here. I put my white balance card in here. Quick and accessible. This little flap is actually pretty cool. It just covers this opening, and then you have a large zipper compartment in here. You can fit a laptop or an iPad in here, and it's got this really soft suede microfiber material so it doesn't scratch anything. And then this is actually pretty cool. In this pocket, you can put your business cards. So if you have someone that wants a business card, you can just quickly pull that out. Now the cool thing about this camera bag is that you access all of your gear from the back side. And the cool thing about that is when you're wearing the backpack, you don't have to worry about someone getting into your bag and stealing stuff because they can't access it while you're wearing it. And in here you have all your pockets that you can customize. These foam inserts are Velcro. You can move them around however you like. And then you also have zipper compartments up here to put batteries, ND filters, cables, whatever you want, and stay organized. I love being organized. So each pocket has a spot for something. So whenever I leave a shoot, as long as the pocket isn't empty, I know I have everything and I'm good to go. Now the other thing that is very cool is that it's got a zipper compartment on the top right here where you can access your camera quickly without taking your bag off, which is cool. And up here is where I put my memory cards. So all that is very quick and easy. Now this side access is very cool too, because you can also get into your bag without taking it off, just right here. I typically put my drone and the controller right here, so I can just pull it out quickly, put the bird up in the air, get the shots, and I'm on to the next place. So that's super convenient. One thing that I really do love is these straps down here on the bottom. I mean, right now I just tucked this waistband right here. This is a waistband just to take the weight off of your shoulders and back and put it on your hips. I know Roy Kramer has scoliosis, so including a feature like that is super helpful when you're humping gear through the mountains and traveling. So that's really nice. It's also a little secret Velcro. You can put cash or your ID or something right there, which is cool. But down here is really cool. It's these Velcro straps, and you can stick a tripod or a gimbal or some larger piece of equipment down here. So that's very convenient just to carry stuff down here. And on the side, we have a large pouch for a water bottle or whatever you want to put there. But this bag is awesome. It's super comfortable. It's very durable. This one's 5 years old and it's held up very well. I will definitely, if this one gives out, which eventually it will, I will probably be getting another one of the same exact kind just because it's awesome. It comes in a variety of different colors, so you can pick whatever color you want. It was a little over $200, I believe, but it was definitely worth it. So the Hex backpack is awesome. Definitely recommend it. All right, so the main camera that I'm using this year is the Sony A7S Mark III, the camera that I'm recording with right now. Now, originally I was using the A7S Mark II, which was a really good camera, but it was just lacking in a few areas. One of them being the color and the other one being the autofocus and the flip screen. The color, the autofocus, and the flip screen. Those were the main reasons why I wanted to switch. Doing a lot of run and gun videography, filming action sports, weddings, real estate, promo videos, things like that. I rely on the autofocus a lot, so when I learned that the A7S Mark III had a lot better autofocus with the facial tracking and the eye tracking, and the touch screen to track your subject, that was just a no-brainer for me. That was something that the Mark II was lacking. It saved me a bunch of time from doing manual focus and going through my settings to make sure everything was in focus. Having that touch screen is huge, just to touch what you want to focus on and the subject is in focus. So that was a big selling point for me. The other selling point for me was the color. I wanted to move up to 10-bit color because the Mark II only did 8-bit, and making that switch really improved the quality of my videos and the product that I was giving to my clients, and therefore I could charge more for giving a better product, more professional, high quality videos. So those were the two main. Now, I haven't had the Sony A7S Mark III for very long. I switched to it about 3 months ago. And I know that this camera has been out for several years, but I'm kind of a late adopter when it comes to new equipment. I don't really go out and buy the latest and greatest unless I have a need to. Most of the equipment that I use, as long as it gets the job done and it works well, I'm gonna use it until it breaks or I have a need to switch to something different or better. So on the A7S Mark II, it had a tilting screen, which was fine for a little bit, but when you put it on a gimbal or a tripod, or if you're trying to do some sort of vlogging videos, it's really difficult and it just kind of gets in the way, and it gets caught on the gimbal when you rotate it. So when I learned that the Sony A7S III had the flip screen, that was just another selling point to switch to that camera. Also, having the dual memory slots for dual recording is huge. I can either put in 2 memory cards, and if one fills up, it switches to the next one. Or if I'm shooting something that's very important and I need a backup, I can have them record to both memory cards at the same time, and I have an instant backup in case something happens to the primary memory card. This camera is a little bit heavier and bigger, but not by much, and it's definitely worth the upgraded features that you get, at least from moving from the A7S Mark II. This is my absolute favorite camera right now. I've worked with different cameras, Canons, Blackmagics, Reds. The Sony A7S Mark III is just the best run and gun camera for me. That's the camera that I like to use. I'm gonna be running that camera for a long time. Now for the Sony A7S Mark III, I did get a couple of additional batteries, just because you can only get a couple hours out of the batteries, and it's very nice just to be able to switch batteries instead of stopping and charging or trying to plug in your camera. So I have a total of 4, and that's plenty to get me through a full day of shooting. I think I only used 2, maybe 2.5, depending on the frame rate and how much I'm filming. But having a couple extra batteries is definitely worth the investment. Now, the lens that I'm using, I'm actually filming on it right now, is the G Master 24 to 70 millimeter f2.8, and this was the first lens that I got, and it has been awesome. I can shoot 90% of my videos with this lens, this 24 to 70 millimeter. It's wide enough that I can get a nice landscape or an establishing shot of a location, and it's also tight enough that I can get nice portrait shots that has a blurred background, nice depth of field. And doing a lot of run and gun stuff, I love having a telescoping lens because I don't have to change. I can just zoom in and zoom out, so that's super nice. The only time that I actually switch lenses is if I'm doing real estate. I need something a little bit wider to capture the full room, and in that situation, I'll switch to the 14 millimeter, but everything else I can do with the 24 to 70, so that's my go-to absolute favorite lens. It was a little pricey, but it was definitely worth it, and it has amazing autofocus. And the 2.8 f-stop allows me to shoot in low light, which is really nice, and it gives me a better blurred background depth of field. And next I have an ND filter. It's actually a variable ND filter. So if you're not familiar with that, it means that it's adjustable. So if you just twist these, it gets brighter and darker. So it's like having multiple levels of ND filters all in one. You don't have to have 4 or 5 different ND filters and always switch them as the light change. You can just quickly twist it and get a different exposure. So that is really nice. And this one is for the 24 to 70 millimeter G Master lens that I use for 90% of the time. So I got this for that lens, and I didn't get one for the 14 millimeter just because most of the time I'm shooting inside with that lens and I don't really need it. So I just invested in one for the 24 to 70 millimeter. Now the wide angle lens that I use is the 14 millimeter 2.8 f-stop lens made by Samyang. It's not the most fancy lens, it's not the most expensive one, but it is high quality, it does the job. There is no autofocus, it's all manual, but in my experience, when you're shooting that wide, everything tends to be in focus, so you really don't need autofocus because it has such a deep field of focus, so that is really nice. And this lens, I typically only use it when I'm doing like real estate, doing interior shots or landscapes, things like that. But when you're in those situations when you need a wide lens, this is a good one. Now the drone that I'm using is the first Mavic Pro that DJI came out with, and I purchased this drone when it first came out, and it has been working great for me ever since. It shoots 4K, 30 frames a second. I've used this drone on hundreds of shoots. It's paid for itself many, many times, and it just keeps working. So I keep using it. There's no reason for me to go out and buy a different drone at this point when this one works just as well. So I've been using this drone for probably 5 years now. It's been working great. I just have the standard controller that it came with, some extra propellers, and I bought a couple extra batteries, so I can get about 25 to 30 minutes per battery. So if I have 3 of them, I can get a little over an hour, and that's plenty for any shoot that I do. So I know that there are newer and fancier drones out there, but this one has been working great for me, so I'm gonna use it until it breaks. And another one for the drone, the Mavic Pro, is Polar Pro ND filters. These are really great. They allow me to drop the shutter speed so that I can keep it at the proper ratio without it being overexposed. So these are really great. I think this kit came with a 4, an 8, and a 16. And honestly, I really only use the 16 because most of the time it's sunny outside and you just use the 16 and you're good to go. If it's a cloudy situation or it's getting kind of dark, you don't really need an ND filter at all, so I don't even bother with the 8 or the 4. So if you only have to get one, just get the 16. You don't really need the whole kit with all that stuff. Just get the 16 and you'll be good to go. All right, the next piece of equipment that I have gotten into recently is the DJI FPV drone. I've always wanted to get into FPV, but was very intimidated of the custom build-it-yourself drones. I didn't want to learn how to solder and build them and discharging and charging the batteries, and it was just so complicated. So when DJI came out with this, I was stoked. It did take a lot to learn. I think it took a month in the simulator before I was even confident to launch this in the air. But now that I've been doing it for about a year, I'm very confident and I absolutely love the shots that I can get with it. It's super fun to fly. I use this one a lot more than just the Mavic Pro. Putting on the goggles is a really fun experience. So I try to incorporate the FPV drone whenever I can on my shoots just to add a fun perspective and a fun element to the videos. So the FPV drone is awesome. And I do have a nice hard shell case that I got on Amazon that keeps everything compact. So if I throw it in a truck or a Jeep and I go off-roading to a location, I know that everything's gonna be safe in there, and it's waterproof with some very strong latches. So I would definitely recommend a nice strong case if you do invest in an expensive FPV drone. Okay, now my gimbal of choice is the Ronin RS2. This is the second gimbal that I've ever owned. The first one was the Ronin M with the 2 arms, and that was a great gimbal. It worked really well, loved it. It held the weight of a heavier camera, which was nice, but it was slow to set up and it was heavy. And it was very large and bulky. So I could only use that for so long, an hour or two, and then my shoulders and arms were killing me, and it just wasn't a very pleasant experience. So when DJI released this gimbal, I was stoked because it had the built-in tripod, so you could put it down in between shoots and rest your arms, and it felt good in your hands when you were holding it. This one can hold like 5 or 7 pounds, I think. So it's plenty enough to hold my camera that I'm using. My setup is 5 or 6 pounds. It has a touch screen and it Bluetooths to your phone. So if you want to set it down and control it by tilting your phone, you can definitely do that. And there's a ton of settings in here to adjust the sensitivity, how fast it pans and tilts, and you can switch different modes. And I love that this gimbal folds up and disassembles and packs up into a nice small package that's really lightweight and easy when you're traveling. The Ronin M that I had was in a large hard shell case, briefcase, and it was just a pain and heavy to lug around, but this one is much more small and compact, so this is absolutely my go-to gimbal. And the other thing that's cool is it will connect to your phone through a cable, so you can push the record button, you can do your focus and exposure with this roll knob. So just having all those controls down here instead of touching the camera every time is really nice too. And for lighting, I'm using a LED bicolor dimmable light made by GBM. This is a great light because it is dimmable. It's dimmable from 0 to 100%. It also has a bicolor temperature. You can change it from a cooler to a warmer look to match your location. It comes in a nice carrying case with a stand. It's also very quiet, it doesn't get hot, and it's Bluetooth capable to your phone, so you can control it from a distance. So a very affordable and high quality light that I would definitely recommend. Now my main tripod that I use is the Viltrox heavyweight tripod. This is a great heavy duty tripod. It can hold 15 to 18 pounds, which is perfect for a camera with a teleprompter if you put microphone or a light on it. It's gonna be super strong, super stable, so it'll hold any weight that you put on it. I use this tripod a lot when I'm doing interviews or running a teleprompter, or I have a boom or something set up. It's strong enough to carry that weight, and this one goes about 72 inches tall, which is great. You can get nice tall shots if someone's standing up and not sitting down. So this is my go-to tripod for a lot of my professional shoots. All right, so this is my baby tripod. It is kind of a medium lightweight aluminum. It's very strong, it's durable, it'll hold your camera securely, but it's much smaller and more compact than the Viltrox tripod that I have. So this is great for run and gun type stuff. It also turns into a monopod, so you can just pull this out. And this telescope's long, so it can be nice and tall. It can be at eye level if you're filming an interview and someone's standing. This is great when you're at weddings and you're filming the toast or the speeches that people do. So this comes with me every time I go to a wedding. The next is the Rode Mic Video Go, I believe. Now this microphone is great. I love that it's small and compact and it's lightweight, so you can put it on your camera if you want and do a lot of run and gun shoots and capture audio. And it comes with a foam head as well as a dead cat to cut out wind noise, which is really nice. And it's great for filming interviews like this. You can attach it to a boom and use it as a boom mic. Now with this microphone, it does have a short cord, so I did get a 50-foot extender cable for the 3.5 millimeter cable, and it's very nice to be able to run it from your microphone all the way to your recorder when you're sitting behind the camera. So that's a nice piece to have. And this boom is awesome. I recently picked this up. It was definitely a great investment. I was using other things and poles and tripods and weird things just to hang the microphone over in place of a boom, but I'm really glad I invested in this boom. It's very professional when you show up on set and you have a nice boom that hangs overhead. It's got a lot of adjustments. The knobs are strong. It's made out of high quality metal. It's got caster wheels so you can roll it around. and it folds up and collapses very easily for transportation, so that is really nice as well. And the recorder that I'm currently using is the Zoom HN1. This is just a basic single channel audio recorder. It only does 3.5 millimeter, doesn't do XLR. But when you're first starting out, this is a great option, and you can monitor and adjust your audio levels all from one place. You can use it as a handheld interviewing mic if you want. You can mount it on a tripod with the screw on the bottom. This is a very affordable yet high quality microphone. So this has been a great microphone for me, and it's a great one if you're just starting out and looking for something affordable to capture great audio. Now, the lapel mic that I'm currently using is just a simple lapel mic with a 3.5 millimeter jack on it. It's been great for those times that I don't want to use a boom, or my subject is walking around a lot. I can just clip this to their shirt, or I can take off the little foamy and tape it to their skin underneath their shirt if I want to hide it. But it's been a great simple mic. Next is the Best View Teleprompter. This is just a simple teleprompter that can hold a phone or an iPad. This is an affordable teleprompter, but it's also high quality. It has a clamp to hold your iPad, and the arms can extend to hold an iPad as big as 12 inches, so that's really nice. And it's got an adjustable mount to hold your DSLR camera, or you can use your smartphone if you want to. So this is a great tool that I use a lot for my clients when filming interviews or scripted dialogues or even YouTube videos. Now, the next piece of gear really isn't filmmaking, but I use it for filmmaking, and it's a great business tool, is just an iPad. I got an iPad for about $350, a 12-inch iPad, no cellular, it just runs off Wi-Fi. And you can also write scripts on it for your teleprompter. So it's a super handy tool to have that I would recommend. It's a lot more convenient than lugging a laptop to a shoot. You can just have your small iPad and pull up whatever documents you need right there. And with all this gear comes the charging gear to keep all your batteries charged. And I found that I had a lot to keep track of, and it was all over the place, and I needed different types of cables for different types of equipment, for the drone, for the GoPro, for the Sony, for the Ronin. So I got this little bag. So I just put all this gear in the bag, and it's all organized and compact in one spot, and it fits in my camera bag nice and easy, and it just eliminates clutter. So this is a super handy way to keep track of all your cables and cords. And the memory card that I like to use is the 128 gigabyte Lexar that has 150 megabytes per second processing speed. This is a great memory card. It's great for shooting large files like 4K, 60 frames per second. I can go multiple days on these, sometimes multiple shoots on these, and haven't had any problems. So I definitely recommend the Lexar. And some of the other devices, such as the drones and the Zoom recorder, use micro SD cards. I like to use the SanDisk Ultra 128 gigabyte. It gives me a ton of memory, fast reading and writing speeds if I need to switch them around from the drone to the recorder. The recorder obviously doesn't need something that big, but I figured if I just got a bunch of bigger micro SD cards, I can swap them around as needed, and I'll never run out of memory. Now, this is something that I should have got a long time ago because it is so simple, but it is so useful. It is just a foldable white balance card. It is awesome, particularly when you are doing shoots by yourself. You're a one-man band like what I am for the most part. It's so nice just to have a white balance card that you can set somewhere, set your camera, get the perfect white balance instead of relying on the auto white balance or just guessing or wandering around the room trying to find something that's white and, you know, snap a picture of it. So I would definitely recommend this. It was like less than $10. It's got the gray side as well, but I've used it for a couple shoots and it works really well. And the fact that it is small and compact is a no-brainer. Like, why wouldn't you carry it around? Like, it's super useful, and your footage is always white balanced. So you can even clip this on your belt as you're walking around, and when you go from room to room, you can just white balance. So I wish that I got this way earlier than I did. So I have been a big GoPro fan. I got the first GoPro when it came out and I still have it. I mainly use that for personal filming projects, just for fun, family vacations, off-roading, dirt biking, BMX, things like that. I don't really use GoPros that much in the professional realm, but sometimes it is nice to be able to clamp a GoPro somewhere to get a unique perspective, even if it's for a couple seconds, just 1 or 2 shots. This is the Hero Black 7, which is great. The stability, the stabilizer in it is insane. It's super good. It's great when I go off-roading. I can just clamp it on a roll cage or on a vehicle anywhere, and it just does really well. I used to have those little sticky pads and I'd stick them everywhere, and they worked well, but they were super frustrating because you had to get it in the right spot, and when you were done with it, you had to peel it off or leave it there, and then it just looked weird. So I was never a fan of those. They were just more of a pain in the ass, but this clamp is great. It just clamps anywhere, and then you can adjust this gooseneck to whatever angle you want, and it's very strong. I've put this on an off-road vehicle going 80 miles an hour, and it's been just fine. So if you can only buy one GoPro accessory or mount type, highly recommend the clamp with the goosenecks because it's just so versatile. And this GoPro is waterproof with interchangeable lens filters on it, so I would definitely recommend the 7 or newer if you're gonna get a GoPro. The touchscreen is great. I would love to also have the GoPro that has the screen on the front. In case you're vlogging, you can look at yourself and make sure you're in frame. But other than that, I've been super happy with the GoPro Hero 7. And just like my other cameras, I invested in a couple other batteries just because the GoPro battery dies very quickly, and it's annoying when you're out and you're not near a charging station and your battery dies, you can't film anymore. So having a couple extra batteries that you can quickly swap out is super handy, and I find that I use the GoPro more and I can capture more footage because I have more batteries. So having extra batteries is awesome. Now the laptop that I'm using to edit is the MacBook Pro, the M1. It's the 16-inch version, I believe. So it's a nice big screen so you can see your footage well and you have room to edit and have all your windows open. This thing is maxed out. I think it's like 64 gigabytes of RAM and a ½ terabyte of storage. So this is super fast and it's great for editing really large files. Definitely love this laptop. It's light, it's small, it's portable, so it just goes in the camera bag, and I can edit on site, on location when I'm traveling on a shoot. So would definitely recommend this. Now, as a videographer, after a decade of filming, I start to run out of space with all that footage. My files are large. I typically film in 4K 60 frames a second, and that storage fills up quickly. So instead of putting all that data on my MacBook and slowing that down, I put it on this G drive. It's the GeForce drive, and this one is 10 gigabytes. And this will last me a couple years of just filling it up with footage and project files and assets and client documents and things like that. And one thing that I like about this drive is that it's very quick, so my files load and play very quickly. And this has been a great drive that I trust to store all of my footage on. The next thing that I use when I'm editing is this card reader. This one is very nice because it can read various types of cards. It can read an SD, micro SD, and USB, and it gives me 3 right there. So I can actually be charging stuff while I'm downloading footage. So this is very handy, and this plugs directly into the laptop and gives me more ports. So it's super handy that I use all the time. Now, there are a few pieces of gear that I would like to upgrade at some point. Not sure if that'll happen this year or next year, but these would be some of my next upgrades that I will be making when I'm ready to upgrade and have the need and budget to do so. The first one would be the Tascam X3 audio mixer. And the reason that I would make this upgrade is so that I can record multiple audio tracks onto one mixer and monitor and control the levels all from one device. Because right now I can only record one microphone with the Zoom recorder. Now, I have used the Tascam in the past on other shoots, and I really liked it and the sound quality that it gave me. So that would be the main reason why I would be choosing this mixer over others. Now, the Tascam X8 also records in 32-bit float, which gives you a lot more control when editing your audio in post. 32-bit float also gives you a lot more forgiveness if you don't have your audio settings perfect when you're recording. So you can make those adjustments in post and still save your audio. But making the jump to the Tascam 8, I would have to upgrade my microphones and audio cables as well, because it requires XLR cables. So with that, I would have to get a new boom mic, and I would probably choose the Sennheiser MKE 600 shotgun microphone. And I would also upgrade my lapel mic to the wireless Sennheiser AVX lapel mic. Wireless lapel mics are super convenient because it lets the subject walk around freely and you can capture really nice audio. I've always been skeptical about wireless microphones just because they can pick up a lot of distortion and strange noises through the wireless technology. But again, I have used both of these microphones in the past on previous video shoots, and I was very pleased with them and loved the sound quality. So these would be the two microphones that I would choose when I upgrade to the Tascam X8. But I probably won't be making this upgrade until I have a project that requires me to record multiple people at once. So for now, the setup I have with the Zoom recorder works just fine. And my next upgrade would be the Aperture 300D Light. Now I'm very happy with the light that I have now, but the Aperture 300D is much brighter, which means if I'm on a location that is fairly dark, I would only need to bring this one light as my main light instead of bringing multiple lights. But again, I probably won't make this upgrade until I have a project that requires this bright of a light. And that's pretty much it. That's all the gear that I'm currently using and will be using for this year and for the foreseeable future. Now, I'm not saying that this gear is better or worse than any other types of gear, because there's so many different types of cameras and lenses and microphones and tripods and lights out there that you could use, and they all have their advantages and disadvantages to some degree. But this is just the gear that I have found that I liked and works well for my needs and worked with my budget. Your needs and preferences might be different than mine, which is great. Do what works for you. But hopefully the gear that I've shown you today has given you some more information about what's out there and will help you choose the right gear for you. Thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to subscribe, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. Just leave a comment in the comment section below, and we'll see you in the next one.